I don't know why, but most people severely overcomplicate how to win their wife back. And if there's one topic out there that has so much advice, it's how to save a marriage when it's falling apart. And a lot of people don't know what I'm about to tell you in today's video. And that's simply because I don't personally know anyone who saved hundreds of marriages at this point when the wife wanted out. So today I'm gonna show you 5 habits to get your wife back through a predictable stage of marriage recovery. I'm gonna show you specifically what behaviors you must do at each of the 5 stages to gain her trust back, to get her to want to work on the marriage, to increase intimacy, and in the process, transform you into the best version of yourself. Now, unfortunately, most men do the wrong things at the wrong time, which is why fewer than 5% of men win their wife back when she wants out. As an example, if you ever tried to fix the problems with her when she's in the first stage of negative sentiment, she'll say things like, "Why are you even trying? You're making it worse. Do this for the next woman." It's like putting gasoline in a car where the wheels are falling off. You're gonna guarantee that you're gonna go nowhere. However, if you take the right steps at the right stages, like each of these men in this video, you'll know exactly what to do, what to say to win her back. Now, I'm not gonna go into each of the 5 stages in depth because there's a whole other video that you could check out at the end of this video. This video is teaching you how to progress through these stages with specific actions. So let's jump into the first stage of negative sentiment. Now, some quick signs that you are here is that your wife has moved out, she requested no contact, she filed for a divorce, or is even seeing another man. It's around 90% of the men I work with in my program. She often will give you one-word responses. She puts a lot of boundaries on speaking about the relationship, so it's all about the bills, business, and kids, and heaven forbid you ever try to touch her in this stage. You're almost like a stranger to her, and the worst part is that she's this happy, loving person with kids or even strangers. It's agonizing because you ask, why can't she be that way with me? Now, there are 2 things you must do in this stage to get her to the next stage. The first is you must stop smothering her. The main mistake that many men make in this stage is that they smother her, they're too needy, they use logic to try to beg and convince to get her back. And in this process, she's losing respect for you. The little bit of respect she had is going lower and lower because you cannot convince her emotional mind with logic. You must give her space. And a lot of men don't like hearing this truth, but I'm not gonna BS with you. Guys think, well, won't she just give up on me if I give her space? No, like, I get it. You're uneasy, you can't focus, your body feels the pain of separation. And how is she okay with how things are? Doesn't she still love you? But by giving her space, 2 things will happen. The first is that literal space will open up between you 2 emotionally and physically. And in that space, what do you think gets filled in? It's curiosity. She thinks to herself, does he still love me? Is he changing? Well, is he even missing me? You must give her space because if there's no space, there's no change in her mind. Even if you think you changed, she doesn't know it unless there is space. The second step you must take here is to understand the root cause of why she left you in the first place. One of the biggest mistakes beside the space is that men become so stifled and repeat the same process with a new woman in the next relationship. This is why the divorce rate's higher for 2nd and 3rd marriages. They lack the introspection. They often blame others. They make the family the villains, or her sister, or the church, or the lawyer influencing her. Look, there's something called the illness fallacy, okay? Let me relate this to you. I never get sick, but recently I took a trip to Croatia and I came home, and on that trip I got sick. Bacteria and viruses are all around you all the time, but why I got sick is because my immune system lowered. What lowered in her is her belief, trust, and commitment to her. So now all these other people in her ears are now affecting her, when before they wouldn't. So you have to say that she's listening to these other people because of her love immune system going lower with you. This is why it's so important to go to the root causes to learn these changes, much like Evan.
And as a matter of fact, I was watching a video about anxious attachment whenever one of your ads came on YouTube. And then I went to the channel and watched every single video you had on there. I can definitely tell a difference in what you're working on.
After some space and she notices the changes, she'll begin to reach out to you a little bit more about random things. I mean, I've heard like, oh, let's go meet up with the kids and do this thing. Hey, come fix this thing in my house, even though she can hire someone. There are little excuses just to catch up with you to see how you're doing. That curiosity needs to be filled. Women love mystery. You must give her that. And then after that happens, you guys would go into stage 2. The second stage is the resentment switch. Now, this is where she goes into the dual mind narrative. I would say that this stage is where you can really screw things up royally. It's because she'll start complaining more here than in the previous stage. She'll start to bring up why you're not a good husband, how things will never work out with you. Now, don't be fooled. Let me translate what that means for you. Most men, because we are logical, will think, oh, I guess things are getting worse. However, you're not a good husband really literally means I want you in my life, and to step up and be the husband I know you can. We will never work out means I am not sure if we'll work out, so I want you to give me the certainty and devotion that I lack. Look, her complaining means she cares. Know this and embrace it. What holds most men back like yourself from understanding that is holding on resentment toward her, for holding on to that past pain, those betrayals, and not letting go. You must enact forgiveness in order to get to the next stage. This is what these two clients did in order to heal that resentment.
The first thing that I did was I had to forgive myself for allowing myself to tell myself that that is okay and to treat myself that way, to then in turn make her feel how I was acting and allowing myself to act. That was very, very difficult because everyone always says, oh, forgive yourself. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry. And that's what I thought it was. Once I was able to do that, it unlocked a lot of things for me.
How were you able to forgive her for the embarrassing things she said? And, you know, even like her talking to this other guy, that's a betrayal, right? So like, how were you able to let go of that?
I guess there's a couple of things. One, forgiveness is forgiveness. If you ask for something in return, it's not forgiveness, it's reparation.
Forgiveness allows you to not react negatively to her criticism, to not touch a wound when you heal that wound. Now, the second habit you must take in order to get stage 3 is passing her tests. Now, I talk about tests all throughout this channel, so I'm not gonna go into the depths about it, but let me just tell you the 80-20 rule, which is her criticism or tests are always a request in disguise. And the only way you can fail that test is to react emotionally. However, if you remain that shore and she's the water, where you are unmoving, unreactive, you hold her emotions, you create that container where she can share every emotion with you and you don't react, you don't pull inward, you don't escape, you don't fight back. What happens is that she grows safer with you emotionally and she begins to open up and soften toward you. And then you get to stage 3. Now, stage 3 is what I call polarity pull. Now, I have a whole video on this concept, the ETS scale, or the emotional tipping scale. Essentially, across the past stages, you've been putting more positive emotional interactions to counteract all the negative little interactions from complacency, lack of emotional connection over the years. At this point, she is slowly leaning towards the positive tipping scale. She's feeling more positive toward you. Now, she's still gonna be testing you a decent amount because there's still other parts of this negative scale that's gonna come out. She's gonna get more emotional, little things are gonna piss her off, but you know at this point how to pass those tests and to take those normal negative interactions and put them on the positive side. However, the biggest investments in the positive emotional bucket that will send things into stage 4 are what Roy and Damon did with their wives.
Inherently, women are begging for a leader. They're inherently begging for a spiritual leader who is able to create this atmosphere of emotional safety.
I planned it. I didn't even ask her anything. I told her what day she was coming. I booked the flights. I got an Airbnb. I didn't ask her if she wanted a hotel or Airbnb. Like, you know, the old me would just be like, hey, this is a 50-50 thing. We're a couple. Like, let's decide this together. Like, but after like going through the program, it's like, nope, I got it. I'm just going to take care of it. And everything went very smoothly. She didn't have any complaints. So, I mean, you know, the stuff you guys talk about is very, very accurate.
Look, man, she is craving your leadership. And an average man doesn't know how to lead day by day. He becomes complacent. He says, I'm gonna go with the status quo. Things are good enough. If you're watching this video, you're not the average man. You wanna transform into someone more, someone who doesn't blame others, someone who takes full ownership over themselves. And one of the best ways that you can lead in your marriage is to show her these masculine features. Now, I have a whole video on 15 behaviors every masculine man, every apex male, what I call it, does in a relationship that you can watch at the end of this video. However, I wanna let you know that when it comes down to it, you just ask yourself a simple question. What man was I? What behaviors did I show in the beginning of the relationship that made her fall in love with me? Now, here are some signs that she's leaning into stage 4 and you're doing things right. She starts calling you babe or other pet names. She starts initiating some physical touch with you, even if it's kind of just an excuse, a tap on the arm, a hug, a kiss on the forehead. She starts making excuses to have alone time with you, even if it's under the guise of something that's discreet or non-indirect. She's texting you more often and faster responses, and she starts speaking in future tense with you involved in that future. That one's a huge one. And she will also begin to communicate to her friends and family that you guys are working things out. At the end of the stage, going into stage 4, this is where most men will tell me that she tore up the divorce papers, she moved back in, and they initiated, well, you know, the best part of the relationship. Now, before we get to stage 4, I wanna let you know that there are a few spots each week to set up a call to work with me personally and my team to get a free marriage evaluation call to see if we're a good fit for you in saving your marriage. Go ahead and click the link down below and we can do that for you. But make sure you are fully committed and ready to do something different that you haven't seen before, because if that's the case, then we will work with you. Stage 4 is projected reality. The biggest mistake men make when hitting stage 4 is they think the battle is won. She came back, awesome, I can go back to the way things were. Oh man, if you do that, there will be no chance that you keep her. Going back into that unconscious, passive complacency will be the nails in the divorce coffin. So how do you stay on top of things? What actions do you take to get to stage 5? Well, check out what this client said.
What you actually want to accomplish in manifesting that into reality, is I have it on my mirror every morning and looking at it, because everyone knows what they want or what they think they want in this program, but I don't know how hard they're willing to manifest it.
You must be the captain of your ship. You must actively create the relationship you want. Think of your relationship like your body. It is an iterative process. What I mean by that is when you go to the gym, right, you're never gonna have this perfect physique and then you're done. It's completely, you have the dream body. You don't need to ever work out, get good sleep, or do anything ever again. It is the same thing with your marriage or your relationship. They are an iterative process. Your wife will never be so fully satisfied we're like, okay, I'm good. You can do whatever the hell you want, it's good. Look, a lot of men let themselves go physically, emotionally, psychologically, and in their relationship, and even spiritually in some ways. Now, some men do stay on top of these other areas, but what I'm trying to say is that most men, what they fail to realize is that their relationship is like that muscle. It's that emotional muscle that must be worked out every single day, putting effort into it. And it's not that hard once you get this positive momentum going, you build these right habits, and the relationship stays smooth. And then when you do that compounded over time, you enter my favorite stage.
Now, once you reach the 5th and final stage, this is somewhere that you've never been before.
You could say actually it's very similar to when you first met her, when you guys were falling in love and all the drugs of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin were just rushing through your brain like a chemical concoction of blissful illusion. And I say blissful illusion because that does fade, but what it gets replaced with is something deeper. Imagine that the first year is that raging fire. It's bright, powerful, but it can fade away. This final stage is a searing hot red coal that just lasts forever. It's not extravagant and extremely passionate, but it has enough there to give you longevity. Very few couples ever get there because they don't put in the work. You have to go through the depths of hell to get to this level of heaven on earth with her. No couple ever reaches this place unless they go through that pain, that struggle, because those struggles and that conflict, it creates that diamond, you see? And so many people give up before they get to this stage because they've never been here before. They don't know how to work through those challenges. But when you find a way, you get equipped with the right tools, skills, strategies, steps proven before with hundreds of other men, there's no stopping you. The only thing stopping you is yourself, is your own belief, your own doubt. If that is something that you want with her, not just want, well, it's not a strong enough word, crave, because the thought of being alone, complacent, and weak, and never learning about who you are is not something that you want to accept. There is a way to get there, and I want to help you. If you want that help, you know how to set up a call with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.